Alrighty, what is this, 3 days in a row for you guys? So just a little housekeeping, a little obvious. It has been 3 days. Why am I doing this? Okay, number one is I get a lot of questions. Number two is we're still at the office. It's 5:08. The day has ended. For most people, for me, it hasn't. And I'm just making sure that everything is good to go. So first of all, the 1% Better show is really just going to be hashtag 1% Better, and then it's just going to be the Charles Botensten show. That's it. It's just going to be me talking. It's going to be me answering questions. I can't just narrowly make a different show between 1% Better and the Charles Botensten show. We're just going to call it the 1% Better, hashtag 1% Better. So what are we going to be talking about today? So number one, don't be harmless. That's essentially what the title of this is. What do I mean by that? Let's just start with this, is that we're in this culture where it's very PC. PC that could be just not cursing, not doing anything out of the ordinary, don't stand out. There's this scientific thing that when there's a crowd and something is happening, say someone passes out or they see someone that's hurt, they're more likely to take action when someone is by themselves as opposed to when they're with a group. Okay? So when someone is by themselves, they're more likely to take action than when they are with a group, because when they're with a group, they don't want to stand out. There's actually a name for that. How embarrassing is that? So that's why when I was taking CPR as a young Boy Scout back in the day, you would point to someone and say, you call the cops, you get help, and you point and you say you, because if you say someone, no one's going to do it, okay? So harmless, what do I mean by that? Harmless means there's going to reach a point where hopefully this doesn't happen. There's a compilation of people just bugging out at work and they flip over, they crush the computer that they're, you've probably never seen the movie Office Space because it's too old for you guys, but someone's at work and they just had enough. But that had enough could be with anything. That had enough could be their body, their relationship, their money, their job, their life, their career, and the extreme is obviously suicide. Before that is just a nervous breakdown. And then you just slowly scale it back to stress and then frustration and then anger, and you just dial it back, okay? So don't be harmless in just, if you want business, show your passion. If you want that girl, call her, okay? Don't be like, well, I have to wait until they text me back, or I have to wait until they call me back, or I have to wait until, no, you do it. Don't be harmless anymore. I'm giving you permission. Why? Because no one gave me permission over the 10 years that I've been doing self-development. Along with that, which is upgrading the life is, I think it was Clark, great question yesterday or 2 days ago, about just understanding that you have to get better every single day. If you don't, you're going down. That's what it is. There is so much competition in this world. And honestly, my biggest fear is that I am going to just be forgotten. Is that I'm going to live life and I'm just going to be forgotten. And I'm trying so hard. And there's this quote, it's actually a video on YouTube, and you hear Steve Jobs, and he just says, to be an entrepreneur, it is so hard that most people give up. Most people give up. They do. And that's why when someone makes it to the top, or they're at least an elite part of business or athletes, or it doesn't matter, that there's a mutual respect. Even if it is competition, there's mutual respect between those CEOs or athletes, that after the game, it's like, dude, that's awesome. High five, pound it out. So I have a couple other points that I wanted to cover. This is, a lot of people say, how do you get your speaking abilities? Go back. Look at my other videos. My videos, I've been doing it for 2 years. I'm never going to delete any of them. As bad as the downvotes, as bad as anything, I'm never going to delete any of them, because that's who I am. Right now, I don't know if you see it, but there's people that are passing by right there. Everyone's still at work. Obviously, this is my goal 2025 to be in Hudson Yards, and that's all I'm thinking about is BPI Studios. Have that along with the BPI brokerage, the BPI management, the BPI development. BPI is obviously Botensten Properties International. If you guys have any referrals, leave them in the comments below. Shoot me a message. We'll help them out. New York City real estate. But one of the topics that I really want to cover today is that quality begets quality. Quality begets quality. What do I mean by that? All right, so quality is that you want something to happen in your life, but if you're not getting better, I've already talked about it. If you're not getting better, don't expect anything different. That's the definition of insanity, is that you expect something to be different in your life, but you are not willing to change, or you don't change, or you don't get better, yet you want more money, you want a better body, you want to get better grades, you want your business to take off, you want to expand your reach, your social reach, yet hashtags and everything else. But are you upping the quality of your photos? Are you adding video? Are you understanding what people like, what they don't like? I'm not saying change who you are. I'm saying change how you maybe deliver that. Deliver it verbally, text, email, whatever the case is, if it's in business. Anyway, if you don't change, you're never going to get better. If you don't get better, you're never going to get it. So that's the foundation to quality begets quality. I've said it for a while is, what's the value I'm going to be getting at this seminar or talking to someone or going to lunch? The quality of the person deserves and expects quality service, business, wealth management, anything about them. So if you don't expect quality, you will not get quality. If you don't see that you are worth something, you're never going to receive it. Okay, this is the basis to the law of attraction. And by the way, in attraction, it's action. Okay, they forgot to mention the action part. We can think there and sit on a bench and just write down all the shit that we want, but if we're not taking action every single day, or at least in micro wins, we've all been there. We've all been there where we're comparing ourselves to someone on social media. When we're looking at that on social media, that's the highlight reel of their life. It's the highlight reel of their life. You have to understand that. So you're looking at this and you're like, oh, they're on a beach. Oh, they're traveling to Italy. Oh, they have a beautiful boyfriend or girlfriend, or they're getting sponsored by someone. Okay, yeah, how did they get there? What did they do? Are they authentic? Do you know them in person? Is this just a highlight reel? You know, one of my friends was talking about that he was dating this girl that had a ton of followers, maybe 50, 60,000 followers, and she would literally post a photo and sit there and press refresh, okay? But to the world, the world is saying, wow, look at this beautiful girl. But to her, she's like, oh my God, how many people are gonna like it? What are they gonna comment? Am I gonna like the comments? You know, are they gonna tag other people? Am I gonna get other followers? Is this gonna get picked up by someone because I tagged all these brands? It's like, listen, you don't know what it's like behind the scenes, okay? So never get jealous. Do see where they're going, but don't compare yourself. We're all on a different journey. Have to mention that. Number 2, even though that's probably number 35, but topic I also wanted to talk about, how many of your fears actually have come true? How many of your fears have actually come true? Okay? What's a fear that you have right now? Okay? Listen, this is more of a lifestyle. This isn't just a one-off thing. This isn't just about wealth. This isn't just about relationships. This isn't just about networking. This isn't just about business. This isn't just about social media. This is about having it all. Being The Rock. The Rock has 100 million following him. The guy's in shape. The guy's married. He's got a beautiful family. He's got an amazing career. He's always smiling. He's always happy. He's getting bigger and bigger by the day. He's getting better and better and better. Okay, he has it all. Okay, yes, there's things that he wish he does, and to be honest, I'm thinking because, you know, there's definitely things that he wishes he had. But if you think about it, out of all the celebrities, who is the most authentic? He makes fun of himself. He's always joking around. He just puts himself out there. Okay, so when I say that is what fears have actually come true is legitimately think about it. When was the last time you did something? It could be calling instead of texting. It could be sending out a blast email. It could be putting up a social media post. It could be something that you had a fear, trying out for that sports team, trying a little bit harder and you're like, you know what? I can actually do it. That's where confidence comes from. Confidence comes from, I've already mentioned it this week, two things. Number one is small wins, and number two is keeping promises to yourself. You don't even need the wins. You just have to keep the promise to yourself. I promise to wake up at 5, and you wake up at 5. I promise to approach a pretty girl when I see her. You approach that pretty girl. That's what it is. That's where confidence comes from. Because your confidence literally said, what is confidence? Confidence is the ability to believe in yourself. Believing in yourself comes from the ability of saying, I will do this, and you actually do it. Do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. That is the definition of confidence in my mind. There's probably a better or whatever definition. So I'm just going to go over a couple of quick questions right here. I really like your honesty. Thank you very much. You're one of my favorite channels of my 23 subscribers. That's awesome. I'm so stoked to pursue a healthy and productive lifestyle thanks to you and Sasha Daygame. So Sasha Daygame is a pickup artist. He's also on YouTube and whatnot. So the two things you said in there, healthy and productive lifestyle, okay? So number one is, my key word is lifestyle, okay? I'm not focusing on anything more than lifestyle, because if you have wealth, but you have no health, you're screwed. If you have a ton of health, but you have no wealth, you're screwed, all right? What if you have health, wealth, but you have no one to share it with? You have no relationships, you have no children, you have no partner, your friends hate you, no one's gonna show up to your funeral, okay? So that's why it's a lifestyle. And number two is, I like how you said healthy, okay? And I like how you said pursue, because that's what it is. You pursue it. You pursue and then you attract, okay? You pursue, okay, let's focus on nutrition. You know, they call it, whether I like the name or not, I heard it from someone that said the 3 white devils. The 3 white devils, which is white sugar, white flour, and milk. Those are the things you should just eliminate, or let's just start with cut back and then eliminate, okay? But if you don't have a good, health is like the thing. Because if you're healthy, you feel better about yourself. You like the way you look at yourself. You carry yourself different. You're just health is, if you're in an amazing relationship, but you're fat as hell, or you have no money, it's like, it's so hard. But health is the basis of everything. Because that's energy, that's enthusiasm, that's productivity, that's mindset, that's clarity of mind, that's looking good, feeling good, that's waking up, that's crushing the day, that's speed, that's momentum, okay? So I'm gonna just keep on going on a couple things that I wanted to talk about. All right, number one is Dr. Wayne Dyer. This is probably one of, Dr. Wayne Dyer, if you have not checked him out, you have to just destroy his videos. Dr. Wayne Dyer is absolutely incredible. I love the guy. Very remiss that he's not with us anymore, but he said, if you squeeze an orange, what do you expect to come out? When you squeeze something, what do you expect to come out? When you squeeze an avocado, when you squeeze, you're like, oh, Charles, that's obvious. Obviously, idiot. Yeah, okay. When they squeeze you, when you squeeze your friend, when you squeeze your relationship, what do you expect to come out? What are the words? What are the emotions? What are the feelings that come out? And when I thought about that, I said, holy shit. So it's you know, when people say money, it only amplifies the person, 100% true. But to really dial it in and use that analogy, or actually that metaphor, which is when you squeeze someone or you squeeze yourself, what do you expect to come out? Do you expect love? Do you expect giving, or do you expect taking and jealousy and self-centeredness? You know, I'm just going to rant for a second on something that I've been really tossing around in my mind for the last probably 3 months, and you know, I've been trying to hone it in. So it all starts with a question, which is, why are people, in my opinion, I've been living in New York City since 07, 08. But I've been coming here for my whole life because I grew up on Long Island. It's right outside of Queens, and actually Long Island actually includes Queens if you technically want to look at geography. But what I've noticed so I moved in 08, and 08, 07, one of those years, doesn't really matter. And what I've noticed is that in New York City, I feel like people are getting a little bit more self-centered. I feel like people are not giving as much. And this is over the course of the years. This isn't something that's just happened immediately, and this isn't something that I didn't notice back in the day, but I feel and the whole trend is that life has gotten so, I am literally live streaming something that would have cost tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars back in the day. I would needed to build a satellite, to build the wires, to build the camera, the computer, everything. And I'm literally live streaming to right now 6 people. However, for me, thank you very much. You know, I know there's going to be a time in the future, say in 10 or 15 years, when someone goes, "Oh my gosh, you live streamed to 6 people?" Yeah, but for me, that's awesome because I know that your attention is everything. So this is what I say, is that life has become, and Tim Ferriss actually talks about this. I'll layer Tim Ferriss for a second, but stay with me, is that life has become so easy that you can literally get food whenever you want, wherever you want. And it doesn't matter if you have money or not. You could beg your way to food if you want. You could beg your way to housing and clothes. You could beg your way to food. You could beg your way to healthcare and to services, which is all well and good. But it's come at such a cost to us actually feeling we earned it, so it's more of an entitlement. And then when you feel you're entitled to it, you actually have no gratitude when you receive it because you're like, I'm entitled to it. But really what you could say is, I am so grateful that I have the ability to live stream to right now 6 people, okay? And then seen by hundreds of others, you know, and then in the future or whatever. But even to the basis of health and shelter and wealth and things like that, like it's become to such a point. And listen, we all have issues, okay? Someone may have died. You may be going through bankruptcy or divorce or something like that. By the way, that's happened and it will continue to happen to people. That's the perspective I put it in. When my uncle died, when he was, I was really young. I was very close to him. And when I got the phone call, I had no idea he was an alcoholic. I had no idea. My family kept it from me. They wanted to protect me, but I was 18 and he died. And, it was a really tough time. And I don't even know how I got over it. I carried his casket. That was really tough. And you think about it and you put it in perspective and say, at least I had a good 15 years together. And he really molded me. He took me under his wing. He really liked me because he never had a son and I was kind of his son to him. And for me, it was the father figure that I was like, he's the cool guy. He's the guy that I could brag about because he had the mustache. He was a police officer. He served in Vietnam War. And that all affected him. And what I look at it is that life has become so easy that we could get food delivered to us. So we don't need to try as hard as we used to. We used to need to hunt or to go out and find water or a relationship. We didn't need to, we didn't swipe right or left. We had to go out, and when you got that, you cared for it because you earned it. You actually went out and you got the water, you got the prayer, or you built the house, or you got the relationship. You earned that relationship. Think about that. The things that you really, really, really remember in your life, that you really cherish, are the things that are gifts. And not gifts as in they were delivered to you like food or a delivery or something on Amazon, 2 days shipping. It was things that you really, truly just... So that's just something in my mind. Tim Ferriss brought this up. And he brought it up because he said he doesn't want to get too soft. And that's essentially what this video is about, is that if you get too harmless, in other words, you don't want to break anything. You don't want to break any windows. You don't want to disturb the status quo. You don't want to put out that controversial thing or say that controversial thing or maybe ask for the sale or ask that girl out or ask for referrals. You don't want to do that. Because you're in this little box. Fuck the box. Don't have a box. So this is what Tim Ferriss does. So he grew facial hair, and they have been giving him a lot of shit lately because they said, you're promoting your new book, which is Tribe of Mentors, I think is, which I'm going to get it from my friend. He took a photo and he's going to be giving it to me. But you think about it, this is what he said. He said he wants to put himself out there and be socially awkward for months, publicly, socially awkward for months at a time, to be able to understand that he can handle all the feedback that he's been getting from people that are saying, you got to shave that. You're describing a book and you have this disgusting all over your face. Like, what kind of goatee is that? And then he wore an ugly hat one video, and they're like, take off the hat. If you could do anything, remove the hat. Who bought you that hat? And just comment after comment after comment. By the way, guess what the video was about? Handling your fears. Handling your fears. And these people are talking about the stupid fucking hat. What are you focusing on? What am I focusing on? What are the things that we're focusing on, completely missing the picture of Tim Ferriss talking about how he's handled fears? He's doing that hat on purpose. He's wearing that hat on purpose. We have to understand that there is intentionality between the very smart people in this world. Learn what they're doing. Oh, you're talking about Felix wearing that stupid hat and growing your facial hair out so he can easily absorb other bigger social consequences that may come from maybe a controversial thing he may say on stage, or a question he gets and the person doesn't like the answer. So I'm just gonna continue. I'm gonna see if there's any questions here. Oh wow. Guys, I watched the videos a while back, looked forward. I'm glad I found pure quality. Daniel Allen, thank you very much. Erwin, you're the man. Ms. Rivera, dude. Dr. Jordan Peterson, highly recommend seeing Dr. Jordan Peterson. This guy has exploded onto the scene last year. So there was a controversial, I'm all for free speech because speech doesn't hurt us. Violence and action and inciting harm does. Inciting harm does. But if I call you an idiot or I say something that's a little against what you think, that is words. Think of this for a second. Here, you heard noise. You heard just things coming at you. You're hearing, what you're doing is you're taking that noise, your brain is computing it, putting a meaning on those words, how I'm saying it, and then it filters through how you think I'm saying it and how you think and your beliefs, and then you have a thought. So I can call you an idiot. So you took the words, you put a meaning to it, then you filtered it through, am I an idiot? Am I stupid? When I was 21, I would be like, yeah, you're right, I am. But now I'm like 10, 11 years into self-development, hundreds or thousands of books later, thousands or tens of thousands of YouTube videos later, if someone calls me an idiot, no. Because you have to believe the insecurity that they're calling you. If I Lindsay Pellis, this girl who's on Instagram, she has, 5-6 million followers. She's a beautiful girl, whatever your type is. But say there's an attractive woman, and I walked up to her and I go, you're ugly. She'd be like, okay. Because unless she truly believes she's ugly. But if someone that is attractive, believes they're attractive, and you go up and you say you're ugly, she's taking the words, she's taking the meaning, she's filtering it through her beliefs and her mindset, and she makes a decision on whether to believe you or not to believe you. Okay? That is the basis of being not harmless. The basis of saying, my service is really good, my skill set is very good, I'm gonna ask for the sale. Hey, listen, let's move forward today. 30-day money back guarantee, you can cancel at any time. But let's just sign the paperwork. Your confidence in delivering that as the close, or however you want to close. Or if you want to ask a girl out, you have to believe that you yourself are good enough to add value to her life. Otherwise, you'd never approach her. Why, you see someone that's below you or socially on a different spectrum than you, but you have confidence talking to them. But Richard Branson walks in the room and you're like, oh. Watch the words. So I'll just go to Dr. Jordan Peterson really quick. So I look at it objectively. I always look at people, how do they come on the scene and everything else? So Dr. Jordan Peterson, and this is a very good lesson for you and for me. He's in his 50s or 60s. He's probably in his 50s. He's been a teacher for many years. He's been producing videos and great quality lectures for decades. He's been reading for decades. He's probably read thousands of books. He has asked the right questions to philosophize. What was my question before? New York City, I felt, are becoming a little bit more selfish. So I said, why is that? Instead of New York City's more selfish. They're not saying thank you. They push through people on the subway. They don't let people sit down on the subway. Things like that. No, I said, why? Why is it? And then I started deducing it from there. Just want to make sure that I'm still on the screen. So Dr. Jordan Peterson has decades of experience. So people say, where did he come from? He's been doing this for decades. For decades. So when Gary Vaynerchuk talks about patience, that's where patience comes from. So there was a controversial bill that came onto the scene, and I'm not going to say agree or disagree or whatever, but it was essentially saying that certain pronouns or whatever when it comes to gender is controversial. I don't know the exact bill. I'm sorry if I have it wrong, but it was something along that. And he said that is a violation of freedom of speech. And he gave these very good logical bullet points. So when you are negotiating, when you're arguing, when you're in a debate, always go logical. Never go emotional. Because when you go emotional, you may offend them. You may make fun of them. You may, you're hitting them. You're attacking them instead of their points. So when you go, you're negotiating for a home in New York City. You say, well, the price per square foot is $1,000, and then this recently closed, and the price per square foot is actually lower. That's why. You never attack them, and that's why Dr. Jordan Peterson is so good, and that's why he has such a massive following right now. Is that he said, here are my logical deductions to why this bill is not good. Then he smartly went on Joe Rogan. Then he smartly went with someone else. But the thing is, I don't know, politically he's probably centrist or whatever. He's probably like JFK, where he's socially conservative or socially liberal, financially conservative. However, what he said was in history, and then he deduces it. So highly recommend people go check him out. Hey Charles, hey everyone, what's up? Chris L, that's probably Chris London. All right. Shave the mustache, why would anyone care about? Effing trolls, man. Speaking of Tim Ferriss, I read his blog. Yeah, so this is the biggest thing that I have to say is when you actually follow someone like Jordan Peterson, you understand the logic that goes through his mind. Number one is the questions he asks, the quality, Tony Robbins said, the quality of the questions begets the quality of the answers. I can easily steer a conversation in my advantage. Because I read a book, I said, wow, let me try that out. So I tried it out. So instead of going up to someone and say, hey, what's up? And no offense to Chris London, or Chris L, I think it's Chris London. But if you say, how great is your day? What amazing thing has happened in your day? Or how great is the traction on your home? What is one area, Tim Ferriss is really good. He has a great question. He says, what's the one book that has been gifted? I'm reading the book Iron John, and it's about masculinity and things like that. Obviously, it's not meant for everyone. However, I can tell you right now is that there needs to be a deep-seated transition, and I think it's happening because you have figures like Jordan Peterson, and you have other masculine men that understand awareness. They're not like the 50s where they're smoking cigars and slapping women on the butt, but they're understanding that they have a role that they play. Women have a role that and obviously this is in a heterosexual relationship. Women have a role that they play, and they are both good. They're both good. Okay, we have to understand that. Okay, perfect example. I'm at the gym today. This girl next to me, under pretty much everyone's, rating or whatever, she's very attractive. I would say she was in my hot yoga class, weeks ago, and she comes in with headphones on, and then she leaves. She puts the headphones in. So instead of saying, why do I not have an opportunity to talk to her because she puts these headphones in? I said, why does she put the headphones in? So I came to the conclusion that she puts the headphones in because she socially doesn't want to interact with anyone, or she just is such a big model on the New York scene that she has so many followers, she doesn't want to talk to any of her followers, or she doesn't want to get hit on or whatever. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'm not going to do anything. But I saw her a couple of times. I tapped her on the leg 2 classes ago, and I said, hey, what's up? Is your name Amber? She goes, yeah. I'm like, the teacher always calls you out. I'm like, that's amazing. She's like, yeah, I've been really trying. And we joked around or whatever, went to that class. Saw her today. And this is the perfect example, is that she has a very masculine approach. She's beautiful, stunning woman, but she's got a very masculine approach, which is not attractive to me. I thought I would be attracted to that back in the day. I wanted a very alpha female, but I would go on dates and I'm like competing with them and they have a deep voice and it's not attractive at all. They would like one up my stories. I'm like, all right, this is ridiculous. I feel like I'm out with my buddy who I play hockey with. So we go through, so I talked to her in the morning. We had a great conversation right before class. It was probably about 5 minutes. She was laughing. We were really bantering back and forth. And I didn't think anything of it. I want to approach it in a friendship relationship, okay? I never want to just hit on someone. That's just a little tidbit, is that over my years of talking to, God knows how many women and having clients that are very attractive or in high regard, is that I go in as a friend. I never game anyone, G-A-M-E. I never go in like that. I always go in as a friend. Oh yeah, just regular rapport. So after the class, we literally were right next to each other. It was one of the hardest classes I've ever been to in my entire fucking life. This teacher just destroyed us. And after last week and not going to the gym for a week and not eating healthy for a week, I was wiped out. I was sweating everywhere. But she was right next to me and she crushed it. I crushed it. And what's really funny is that after the class, I was like, good job, high-fived her. And I had to go because I had to come back up to work because this was at a different gym. So she then goes, oh yeah, you have a great weekend as well, in a very feminine voice. And I started thinking about it. So instead of being like, oh, she's totally into me, I was like, what changed from the beginning part of the class where she was very not standoffish, but very, oh, I own this deep voice and everything like that. And then after class, she's like, oh, have a great weekend, like that. And I was like, wow, what happened? So this is what I think happened, is that when you act as the man, she doesn't need to act as the man. I think there has been times that she needed to take control or make decisions or lead the way, and she stays in that role. It's like a very senior person, very senior female at a company, and they need to act that way. And then they go into a date or a relationship and they act the same way, where they're decisive, they're on their path. It's my way, it's the highway, it's And this isn't on women. This is just if a man is a man. So I approached her as in a friendship kind of way, and it was funny. I was joking around. I wasn't boring, and I wasn't keeling over. And we had a great rapport. It's just, she said, "Okay, I can trust this guy." And sure enough, she turned into this very feminine girl. And I started thinking about it, is that you have to play the role that you're supposed to play. Just in life, is that if you have a passion, pursue that passion. And people will be attracted to that, okay? And I'm not saying everyone, but also the two things is, with that, is that Jordan Peterson is playing that role of a philosophizing, or whatever that word is, philosophizing just complex issues and deducing it to the bullet points to better understand it. And I hope you're getting a little of that from this as well, which is, take the top, big subject of femininity, masculinity, and deduce it and say, okay, if the male is the role, because this is the point. If I went in and I was like, okay, how's it going? Oh yeah, and I was really nice to her and blah, 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 she wouldn't change, because she's like, I can't rely on this guy. I can't rely. It's like, I can't rely on a buddy of mine if he's always late or he never has my back. It's the same thing, all right? So I don't even know where I just went with that. What's Shafaz? He comes out and he goes, what's your take on NoFap? So NoFap, obviously, there you go. So NoFap is just, and it's, women are doing it as well, where you just abstain from masturbation or self-pleasuring, whatever you want to call it. And it was like a taboo thing for probably 6 or 7 years, and now it's really not a big deal. Oh, I thought there was someone at the door. And it's not really a big deal anymore. Try it out, like anything. Just try it out, and what I've noticed is that you gain more energy, you're happier, you get the added benefits. The problem is it's so hard, okay? No pun intended. So there's two reasons why, say, masturbation or eating like crap or not going to the gym is because we have a rhythm or we have a routine. And this goes back to Charles Duhigg, which is you have the trigger, you have the action, and then you have the reward. So the trigger is I come home from work, or I'm sitting on the couch, or I have my phone in my hand, or whatever the case is. And then you say, okay, what's the action? You start scrolling through pornography, or you start whatever, thinking about it. And then you have the release, which is the reward. The trigger is my alarm goes off. The action is to get the fuck out of bed, to take a picture of my watch so I have accountability. And the reward is I kept the promise to myself. And it's also accountability that people are like, oh, okay, this is the type of person I can rely on. Okay? So the trigger, that's the number one thing, is that it's already a habit. No fapping is a habit. Masturbation is a habit already. Okay? And women, they're going just as far with this as well, and they're seeing exactly the same results. And the reason being is that you have to look into the actual, whatever you call it, of testosterone. Testosterone is there in a man at a ridiculously high percentage, and estrogen is at such a ridiculously low percentage in men, and it's obviously the other way around. And within that, estrogen, emotions, connection, interpersonality, because women back in the day, think about it. Again, this is deducing a complex issue. So women back in the day, they had to understand, is this guy reliable? Is this someone that can care for my children, protect my children, go out and get food? And when shit hits the fan, is he gonna be there? Is he gonna survive? Is he a leader of men? Okay, that's an estrogen. So what they had to do is have that keen sense of awareness. Men were all about decisive, because that one split second was death, was getting punched, was disease, was a wrong turn when you're actually hunting or when you're looking for something back in the day. By the way, we're not 2,000 years old, we're millions of years old based on other animals and just breeding up. Look at the entire basis to humanity. So this is what I have to say, is that when you go days with, okay, let's go back to that, is that you have the habit. So we're already in the habit. So you have to break, Linkin Park says breaking the habit. We have to break the habit, first of all. Number two is there's obviously pleasure that comes from it. Okay, this is with any immediate gratification. This is anything that you say, oh, it's 2 o'clock, I'm bored, I need to go get sugar. Or it's 8 a.m., I always get my coffee, let's go get coffee. Okay, so it's really with anything. Is with me, I started going from coffee to iced tea, then iced tea to nothing. Okay, I had to replace it with something until I can wean off of it. It's the same thing with masturbation. Is just you either need to put your phone on airplane mode, you need to delete the apps, you need to block yourself. There's plenty of websites that can block yourself. You have to maybe try it for a day, then 2 days, or give yourself $20 and say, listen, if I don't make sales calls, or if I masturbate, or if I do something, then you keep the $20 or $50 or $100, something that's meaningful. Okay, I highly recommend it. And, to be honest, I usually start on a Sunday, because that's, I can go Sunday to Friday or Sunday to whatever. There's some guys that can go 30 days. It's really hard 30 days because I'm at the gym. I'm actually building up testosterone as well, because I'm making sales calls. Testosterone can be built up. If you sit there and you do nothing, then it's depleted. But if you're as active as I am, I just build it up, and I'm just a very go-getter kind of guy, and it's, yeah. And by the way, women can feel it. So there you go. All right, Tim Ferriss's blog. You were reading it a while back. What do you think of it? I didn't see Terry Crews. Tangents are awesome. He hits points that are necessary to dissect. Yeah, I like his tangents too. Just makes me laugh. He goes so deep into where he started. Yeah, so I don't even know what I started on. All right. I'm just going to mention 2 other things before we go. And this is actually in my database, which is it's decision making. And I wrote this down. I go specifically knowing when to press on and when to accept a sunk cost. Okay. So I was talking to my buddy. We were actually coming back. This is probably about a month ago, and that triggered this. And about a month ago, great guy, awesome guy, love the guy. I love him because maybe he follows all my shit. I have no idea. But that's probably it, actually. That's kind of funny. But I saw him on the way back from the airport, and we started talking, and I saw him 6 months earlier before I saw him on the way back from the airport, and he was talking about this relationship. He doesn't really like it. He's looking for marriage, and she's not the one. And then I saw him 6 months later, and this is the time I'm talking about. I was like, oh, you single guy? You know, we talked about it 6 months ago. He goes, well, you know, she's a nice girl. The summer's coming up, and da-da-da. And he just starts going down this list of rationalizations of why he's still in this relationship. And I, for the life of me, can't understand why. Again, logically deducing and say, why is that? Okay, so he's literally going between when do you press on and when do you see it as a sunk cost? This relationship, this money, this house, whatever. It's just a sunk cost. It's just, that's gonna be my family member. Friends you can get rid of, but family members you can just dump, okay? I'm sorry, friends you can just dump, relationships you can dump, jobs, anything that's not just making you a better person, you could just dump and get rid of it, get it out of your world. So I started thinking about it. I said, he's still seeing it as pressing on, that he can make it work. He's justifying it logically on why he can make it work. And meanwhile, he can't make it work. There's no way he can make it work. This girl, she's not his type. She's not ready for marriage. She doesn't want to have kids. She doesn't have a job. You know, there's just this line items, and the line items are bad and the line items are good. It's just like bad, good, but he's putting this on the pedestal, okay? So look at things in your life as like, what's the sunk cost in my life? Maybe right now, what I'm thinking about it is that I cold call every morning, okay? That's a sunk cost because I should be putting that time into calling past clients and emailing past clients instead of cold calling, because my past clients, they've worked with me. So that's a sunk cost of saying, okay, I've done months of that and it hasn't really panned out, okay? So instead of saying, let's press on, maybe it's gonna work out, yes, there's time to press on, but you really have to think about it and you say, all right, you know what? I've pressed on, it's time to look at an alternative. It's time to adjust. There's a great book out there called Disrupt You. Disrupt You. Highly recommend you read that book. Probably one of the best books that I've read because everything is going through disruption. All right. So then the other thing is that it's not what you do in the day, it's how far into your goal you're going. There's a book that I was reading which is called Time Hacking. I think it's called Time Hacking. Very small book, very short book, but very, very powerful. It's under 100 pages. It's incredible. Time Hacking, I think it's called. I can look it up on Amazon. But he essentially says you have 24 hours. So what's the difference between a Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, Ford and Rockefeller, all these guys that accomplish so much? What's the difference? Is that they look at their day as in what's the distance into their goal they're going. Okay, we have those things that we're pushing off. And everyone obviously knows, Gary Keller talks about it in The One Thing. Highly recommend that book as well, The One Thing. Is that he says just focus on one thing and that's it. And once you get that one thing done, then you could go to number two. There's also another great book. I'm just dropping some books right now. Brian Tracy, Eat That Frog. Highly recommend. That's also a very short book. And he talks about if there is nothing worse than eating a really ugly, fat, juicy frog in the morning, and that's the first thing you do, every other frog, aka task, is not that bad. You eat that one big, you don't want to eat it. Every other frog, every other task, it's not that bad, okay? So highly recommend checking out those two books. And that's the thing, is that when you start looking at how far am I going into my long-term goal. So for mine is 2025, it's right back there. 2025, I want to be at Hudson Yards, have a sick, full, open floor plan like Gary Vaynerchuk has for VaynerMedia, be talking like Gary Vaynerchuk. Well, I don't know if I'll be married at that time, single, I have no idea. I really don't give two shits. Maybe I will, but not right now. And like, how far am I going into that goal, into that distance, okay? So it's not about, oh, I did all these tasks today, I posted to social media, but how is that actually making me go towards my actual ultimate goal? So if you guys have any questions, leave them here. Master Key System, I actually went through that. It was pretty good. I think I like old school things. However, for me, it's very basic. for me, I wish it could be a little bit more advanced. I'll give you the example of, what's his name? He wrote, the wealth book. God, blanking on his name. There's two guys that are there, and Napoleon Hill, and who's the guy that wrote Win Friends and Influence People? Dale Carnegie. So those two people, great guys, both great books. But in today's day and age, because those are the originators, and before them there was someone else. In like 1889, someone wrote a book about law of attraction. This isn't brand new, okay? Someone just repackaged it and was able to put it in video content and gave it to us, okay? Because in the 30s, then that sparked Earl Nightingale and a bunch of those guys. Then you had Jim Rome, you had Brian Tracy, you had Jack Canfield, and now today you obviously have the younger guys, which are Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard. These are all guys that have learned from the best. This isn't brand new. So the Master Key System, highly recommend if it is brand new. All right. So any other questions? What's your opinion on sexual transmutation chapter from the book? Oh yeah. That's a really good question. Shafaz Farhat, I hope I'm saying your name right. Very, very good book. I reread that twice, and I don't know if that was taken out of the newer editions, which is ridiculous. Okay, so that's a perfect example of just, we're all adults here. Stop, give me the right to think if something is good or bad. If it's offensive. That's why Gary goes out there and he curses. He loses a lot of his audience and he loses a lot of speaking gigs. However, he's attracted his core group of followers. And I'm not saying go out there and be offensive, but go out there and be authentic. But if there is something, we're at this time where people are just getting too offended, okay? It's at the point where there's going to be a pendulum swing. And unfortunately, we went too far over here, which is everyone gets offended. But then the pendulum swing goes to the other extreme. We need to be right here, which is we are all adults. We can handle words, we can handle action, or we can handle words, we just can't handle actions. If someone is inciting violence, that's different than someone saying, you're ugly, or you're stupid, or, it doesn't actually spur a conversation. So with sexual transmutation, that's what it was. Everyone was an adult. That's why it's a best-selling book, okay? You have to understand that. Not you, but I'm just talking to the people that don't understand that, is they gutted that book in the newer editions. And that was one of the best chapters, is that people can feel it. You have this pent up. It's well known. Look how many people would not masturbate before fights. The Gracie brothers, Mike Tyson, Conor McGregor. There's just well known massive amounts of people. I don't know if it was Muhammad Ali. There's other huge fighters that would take that and use it for their fighting ability. Then you actually talk about the people that are really into sales, that need to go and be bold and lead masses. Of course, yes, it works. They feel it. People feel your emotions. They feel how you're thinking. You know how many times, here's the example from this morning, is I'm talking to this girl, and then I started actually thinking about, wow, she's pretty, wow, we have a really good conversation. And literally, in that exact moment, we're having a great banter, great rapport, everything. In that exact moment, my everything, not everything, but my body language, my voice tonality, my facial expression, everything switched because I thought something different. I wasn't just flowing as Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, however you say his name. Everything was just flowing out like it is now. It's just flowing out. I'm not thinking, oh, what is he going to say next? It's just flowing out. And that's the thing, is that when it switched in my brain, she felt it. Because she changed. And I said, oh, she changed. Remember that? You're like in a debate or you're talking to someone and then you start thinking about something else and then you're not really in rapport or the conversation isn't in flow. We've all done that, okay? And it was the same thing. And I said, holy shit. She feels, this is like sales 101, is that they feel what you're thinking. If you say, I'm going in to just get the paperwork signed, I'm going in to just get the agreement signed, then your confidence is at a totally new level. You're just walking in, here's the paperwork. Here's my product and service. And it's the same thing with the girl. What are you delivering? What is she feeling? What is she seeing? Okay? So I think there's just people. Nope. All right. All right, cool. Space Shuttle. There are so many books on self-development and law of attraction, which all say the same. According to you, which do you like the most? Law of Attraction it's all right. I would say the best book by far, it's Bible big, is Jack Canfield. Okay, Jack Canfield has the Success Principles, and I reread it. It covers everything. You don't need to read anything else. Obviously, read other things, but his Success Principles is amazing. I wish Jack Canfield go subscribe to his YouTube channel. I wish he put out more content, more programs, because Brian Tracy, he's getting at the age where he's slowing down, and I can't really relate. I actually unsubscribed from his YouTube channel today because it was a sunk cost, a little re-trigger. And yeah, I know you guys are asking about the sexual transmutation. Going back to that is that if you feel something, and I know he said they feel it, however, that is the power of understanding your thoughts. Your thoughts are everything, because your thoughts become beliefs, which becomes words, which become actions, okay? So the thought of, I wonder what she's thinking, we're really in rapport, is she into me, blah, 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 which becomes a thought, which becomes a belief, which becomes words, which become body language and action, and then I just totally transformed. So going back to that, yes, because I was being myself. All right, something I think about often, how do you balance living in the moment, but thinking and planning and keeping your long-term goals in future? I can add I think you could add some great insight. Yeah, so first of all, you have to have at least 1 year goal or 2 year goal. I have a 20 something. I've it until about 50 years old, and I'm 32. So what's the math on that? 28. Good math. No, 18. Sorry, it's been a long day. 18 years. I have an 18-year goal. Okay, and then what I did was I don't actually have it, but I have. When I'm 50, this is what I want to happen. When I'm 48, this is what I want to happen. And they are big fucking goals. They are big fucking goals. They are selling $10 billion, being the top real estate firm. They are BPI is international, which is my company, is international. We're not in this office space paying over $3,000 a month for this office space and all the services and amenities that it comes with. Like, that's insane to me that I'm paying that. However, I'll tell you a little secret. There's people on other sides, and they're still here. And I just think about, I don't want to be at that age and still have a small business. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't want to be at that age of 45 or 50 years old and having a bad relationship or not having sex or not being in shape. That's my fear, is being at that age and only making $150,000 or $200,000 at 50, 60 years old. You can barely survive on that now, let alone in the future. Mike, I don't know if my kids will go to college, but if you think about that inflation-wise is going to be probably $100,000 nowadays, which if you're a couple and you're making $100,000, that's tough. It sounds like a lot to a lot of people. Me 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I'd have been like, holy shit, that's like, you're fucking rich. You're in the 1%, baby. Go you. So that's one of my bigger fears, okay? You have to understand that. One of my bigger fears is literally going my life and just not being remembered. And it's not because I want people to love me and whatever, but it's like, if I'm willing to invest so much time in reading and deducing and thinking about this all the time, how can I think about that in my head? And this is funny. Jordan Peterson, going back to him, he said in his last live stream, or it was actually a couple now, he said, the reason he's doing it, he's getting supported on Patreon. However, he said in there, he said that his, I think, sister-in-law, or not his sister-in-law, his daughter-in-law or his daughter are now doing all the work for him. They said, you have so much knowledge. And now he likes it. He likes that he's being invited to all these speaking gigs and is going on Joe Rogan's podcast and doing all, and for 2 times actually, and is one of the big thinkers now, is that he's developed so much knowledge over 15, 20 years, okay? So going back to your question, sorry about that, talking about a Rampage of Talking, which is, so I have each year, this is the way I did it, is that each year, I don't know if I could bring it up, but under each year, I have a goal that I want to do, and here, I'll bring it up. Let's see if I could share with you guys. We'll save it. There, I don't know. There's some company things on here, but this is actually really good. So if you bear with me, you'll be able to see what my long-term goals are. And to be honest, the reason I'm probably sharing this with you is because I want to ensure that I reach them. I want you guys to hold me accountable, you know? So this is a brand new feature, by the way, that I just, there we go. Wow, this is sick. Watch this. You guys are gonna love this. Well, hopefully, you know, if not, whatever. There we go. All right. Well, that didn't really work out. Oh, here we go. Bear with me, bear with me. Okay. Screen capture. Yes. Okay. No, that's not it. All right, ask some more questions. I'm going to be on here for about another 5-10 minutes, and then I got to hop out. All right, there we go. All right, perfect. Oh, I can't. Oh, I can't do 2? Oh, that's stupid. Oh, hold on, maybe I could do this. Sorry about this. There we go, there we go. All right. Oh, nice. Whoop. There we go. And let's layer it. All right. So this is going to be exactly what I think about when I am going to bed. And these are the things that I really want to actually happen. All right. We'll just make it really big. I don't really care. We'll delete that. All right. So it's going to look weird and I'm going to go off the screen, but it doesn't really matter. say is, I hope that gives you guys a better understanding, and that was essentially, there we go. All right, well, hopefully you guys like that, and if you have any questions, yeah, look at it coming up. That's crazy, yeah. So if you guys have any questions, leave in the comments below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Looks like you guys all bounced, so we have 0 people watching. But for me, you know what? It's not about that. And I would say I really appreciate everyone that has watched it and will watch it. And obviously, questions, let me know. If you guys have any real estate, wealth, health, anything you want me to cover, leave it in the comments below. Have an awesome day. Subscribe to the video. And I will talk to you guys soon. Have an awesome day. Talk to you soon.